ask you this. So for that woman who wants to get divorced,
Okay.
she's on a budget. What
Yes.
are some things that she can do to help save in legal fees? Because I know obviously the more organized she is, but
Yes.
let's give her some examples of some things that she can do to help.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, again, helping by gathering evidence, not just before the divorce is filed, but after. Additionally, in the discovery process, which is really where you discover, you send a request for production of documents, you send interrogatories, which are questions that have to be answered under oath. You send out third-party discovery requests for documents to people. I like for the client, really no matter what their income is, but especially if, money is tight, to help review these documents because the client always knows the situation and the relationship better than the attorney. And so there may be a recurring cost on the credit card statement that I won't think about. And then the wife will get in there and say, well, wait a minute, that's not normal.
Right.
So help the lawyer out as much as you can by getting involved, by helping to review documents. When we get down to the trial prep, let's say we didn't settle. You can go make copies of stuff because trial prep requires in-person trials anyway, requires sometimes big blow ups charts. They can participate in that, but I would say save money. Now we always ask for attorney's fees when we file a divorce, no matter how much money our client makes, whether she's the breadwinner or not. We always
Right.
ask for it.
Right.
And then in the case, we can have a Rule 9 hearing where we set up things on a temporary basis. We can ask for attorney's fees. Then we can also file a motion for attorney's fees, interim attorney's fees while the case is pending, asking that the other side contributes to your fees. There's a code section 1962 where we got to look at the disparity in income and we've got to have an equal playing field in this divorce. And the court will award attorney's fees if the husband makes a lot of money and mom's either a homemaker or earns significantly less. There are avenues to ask for to ask for attorney's fees from your husband during the divorce case. So the wife can help the lawyer with the case as much as possible, stay active, help review stuff, but then also it's incumbent upon us, the attorney, to seek attorney's fees on your behalf in every scenario. At the temporary hearing, filing a separate motion. Let's say the husband is being litigious and doesn't want to give up his documents. When we file our motion to compel discovery, we ask for attorney's fees then. At every step of the way, we ask for attorney's fees and try to get a hearing or a ruling on that.
That's helpful. I think a lot of women don't realize that they can potentially get some assistance from their husband.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting their
Absolutely.
legal fees paid. So
Yes.
Tanya, I'm curious, are there some things that women don't know or don't realize that they're entitled to, or they're just not sure that they should ask for it?
Well, I think one of the things is, again, like businesses, a lot of people nowadays are self-employed. And so, let's say the husband is an accountant, CPA, and he's got a successful practice, kind of like Janai Thornton, right? He's making all the money. And he started that during the marriage. That's a marital business. And so we might want to get a business evaluation and ask for part of the value of that business. So a lot of women just simply don't know that they are entitled to an equitable division of all marital assets, which would include that business or businesses. Okay. Real property. For whatever reason, some women don't think that they're entitled to maybe rental properties that are purchased during the marriage. Those are marital properties. And so we got to put the value of those things on a spreadsheet and divide by 2 most of the time, or at least if it's not a 50-50 split, what type of split should it be? The longer the marriage, the more it's going to be 50-50. Looking at the contributions. Some ladies don't realize that they can have part of stock acquired during the marriage, stock options acquired during the marriage. Of course, the retirement, some people just don't know that they're entitled to part of that. And so an asset is anything of value. And so anything of value acquired during the marriage is marital, subject to division. There's a couple of things that, may not be divided, premarital stuff. Sometimes if let's say your husband has a premarital home that he rents, and during the marriage that just appreciates based on just normal, regular market forces, that's not going to be divisible. We talked about an inheritance that may not be divisible, but for the most part, any assets acquired during the marriage are going to be divisible. And I do have to, again, underline that debts are divisible too. I have yet to see a court really divide student loan debt. Okay.
Good.
That's a big one.
Yes, honey. So, amen. Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So your husband lets you get a degree during the marriage, and some of it's paid for, some of it's not. I haven't seen too many courts divide that student loan debt. So monitor that. And now if your husband agrees to it, and we put it in an agreement that is incorporated into a decree, that is enforceable. But he may not agree. The court, I haven't seen a court award it, not yet. It's been 29 years. A lot of people ask for it. I don't even really ask for it anymore because I tell them I don't see a court dividing that kind of debt. But
right.
Other debt, of course, tax debt,
right,
credit card debt. But we want to, in discovery, decipher out credit card debt, because if he's cheating with his credit card, we are not helping him cheat. We ain't paying for that. No, we're not. You and that lady.
It's not gonna happen. No, ma'am.
No. But you got to be able to prove it. That's why you have to ask for these documents in discovery and go through them. And so that's why it's important for the wife to help the attorney look at that stuff, because at first glance, we may not recognize an expense that is not normal, but she would know.
She certainly would. That's for sure.
She would. Yes.
All right, Tanya, let's talk to the woman who is looking to engage an attorney, regardless of the state that she's in. Attorneys are like doctors. You don't go to the cardiologist if you have a rash. So how does she ensure that she is dealing with a well-equipped, experienced divorce attorney?
All right. I think the best way to find an attorney is by referral. And so if she knows someone who has gone through a divorce, whether that person that she knows is a family member, a friend, a colleague, a parent, an elder, ask around. There are a bunch of excellent family law attorneys, but likewise, there are some family law attorneys who do family law, personal injury, workers' comp, and that.
And then bankruptcy on the weekends. Yes.
Oh my God! And don't forget bankruptcy.
So bankruptcy on the weekend. That's a little scary to me.
Yeah. Because a lot of people try to get into these divorces and do it pro se without an attorney, and then of course they're held to the same standard as far as not only civil procedure, but discovery and how to get things. And they won't know what to do. They won't know how to do a worksheet or a parenting plan. But experienced attorneys, and if you doggone it, you don't know, you don't know anybody who's been divorced.
Right.
No one. Okay. If you're gonna Google someone, see what kind of rating they have. And you can always have a consultation with a lawyer and not hire that lawyer.
Right.
It's perfectly fine to have a consultation with one, with two or three if you need to.
Yeah.
Because also you're going to be spending, think about this, you're going to be spending a lot of time with that lawyer and that lawyer's staff, depending on, the scenario. And I'm not saying that you have to be friends, but you have to kind of be on the same page, recognize and understand what our collective goals are in this divorce. What are we trying to achieve? Are you going to be able to work with that person?
Do you have rapport? Rapport. I think chemistry is important for sure.
I do too. And I will say this, you may hire a lawyer and find out in the middle of your divorce case that you know, this attorney-client relationship is not a good fit. You can change lawyers in the middle of your divorce too. Okay. All right. Because sometimes I've gotten people that have come in that have been with lawyers, and they'll say, well, hey, I really want to fight for custody. And you know, but my lawyer doesn't think it will work. Or I really want to fight for part of my husband's assets and my lawyer doesn't think so. What do you think? And I'll say, oh my God, yes, let's do this. We can do this, that, and the other. And then they'll change counsel. Likewise, I've had people who, I had a lady one time who would not believe me when I told her that her husband, who had been committing adultery, would still be entitled to part of her retirement. All right. Because I told her that that adultery is going to bar his alimony claim because she let him, you know, kind of not work, employed. Ever, she had amassed a huge retirement. And I was able to get the other side to agree that the husband would take $15,000 plus $3,000 to move out the house and go on with his life. My client said, I'm not giving him anything. He cheated. He's no good. He's a dog. He can go. And I said, ma'am, trust me on this. So she said, you know what? I'm just going to get another attorney. So she went and she took $40,000 out of her retirement, which you're not supposed to touch during your divorce, hired another lawyer, went all the way to trial. And not only because of the length of their marriage, not only did she have to give him half of her retirement, but that $40,000 she took out, she had to give him half of that too.
To put it back, yeah.
And she had to pay that man's attorney's fees because she was being stubbornly litigious.
Right.
So she had to pay attorney's fees based on two different statutes, you know, one, the disparity of income, and then two, she was being litigious. So you got to make sure you're on the same page. And then if you get advice, take it. Right. And it's not a problem if you want to check out what your lawyer says. You can either do your own research or get a consultation. You can consider and contemplate getting another lawyer during your divorce and then decide, you know what, okay, this other lawyer said the same thing. I'm going to go on and stay. So I want people to know that you need to make an informed decision. But then if you get in there and see that you're kind of bumping heads with your own lawyer, you can change and get another attorney. That happens a lot.
Another question, and this happened to a very good girlfriend of mine.
Okay.
Husband, you know, they decide amicably, you know, this is not working, no children. And so he says, you know what? You don't need your own lawyer. We'll just use this one lawyer. This is better for us. You know, we can save money. You know, we agree, you know, we're not fighting. Let's just use this one lawyer.
No.
I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And
that's absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you come up with an uncontested divorce, first, an uncontested divorce is where the parties agree not only to get a divorce, but they agree on all issues relative to the marriage. That would be custody, visitation, and child support if they have children, and that would be a division of the assets and debts. So let's say they agree to everything. If your husband goes and engages a lawyer who drafts all that up, it is important and imperative that you get your own separate attorney to review that, who's looking out for your best interests. So that attorney can review it and say, well, hey, these are some tweaks. And then maybe you two can go back and forth and tweak things until both parties are satisfied. And then it would still truly be an uncontested divorce. But sometimes if people don't agree on one issue, we no longer have an uncontested divorce. If he says, okay, well, I want the house, and you say, well, no, I want the house because we've agreed that I'm going to have custody of the kids and I want the kids to stay in this same school district, and we don't agree on the house, guess what? We don't have an uncontested divorce anymore because all issues relative to the marriage have to be resolved. And, you know, your lawyer is going to look out for your best interest, just like the lawyer he hired is going to look out for his best interest.
Absolutely. In fact, it was his strategy because
Of course.
he had amazing retirement, great
She
assets.
trusted him.
And this was his way of minimizing what his impact was. And of course, it was smart. It was perfect from his perspective.
That should have been a red flag. You never use the same attorney.
Right.
Ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At one time. And in fact, sometimes if a guy is being, really, just legitimate, not trying to get over, and you don't have the money, he'll give you the money to pay a lawyer to review it if, you all have that kind of disparity in income. So ask him, okay, I see this uncontested divorce paperwork. Please give me, $1,000 so I can have this lawyer over here review it on my behalf to protect my best interests.
Right. Well, one other thing that I've seen with another girlfriend who was divorced in the last few years, and there was significantly more that she was entitled to, but she didn't have the energy. She was tired. She was
I call that litigation fatigue. I'm tired. I just want out.
So can you talk about that?
Yes, I can. Some of these divorces, if we're fighting over custody and assets. I just finished the divorce a week and a half ago that had been going on since March of 2018. And I just finished the divorce in June of 2021. Okay. And there were periods of time during that divorce process that my client was very tired of the process. I've got to come up with more documents. I've got to supplement my discovery. I already gave all these things. Now I got to go give from that period forward. Now I got to gather this, I call it litigation fatigue. It's like they get worn down. Ladies, a lot of men will wear you down in the divorce, so you will just agree to whatever. Hold on, stay strong, recognize that the entire rest of your life is dependent upon how these things are done in this divorce case. You cannot cheat yourself because you're tired. I had a lady one time, she was so sick of her husband. They had been married over 25 years. She let this man have the house.
Right.
And she let him not pay her alimony.
Right.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
That his retirement is your retirement too, because he would not have been able to amass that much if you weren't there in that household helping to take care of your children together.
Absolutely.
And making his house a home when he got home from work. His food was there.
Right.
You're cleaning, you're cooking, you're working and taking care of the kids. Right. And you let him what?
Right.
Did she regret that? Let me tell you something. That lady calls me and still says, why did you let me do that? I'm like, I kept trying to tell you, and you just wanted out. I'm sick of him, sick. But now that you're older, right, you don't have the same number of years to amass a retirement like what you could have had already. Court was going to split that. He amassed all of that during the marriage. So you cannot cheat yourself. And you have to gather the strength. Going through a divorce is a lonely situation because at some point, the longer your divorce goes on, the less your friends and family want to hear about it. Tell me when it's over. I can't take it. They can't take it anymore. They don't want to hear. Well, guess what he did?
Right.
He tried to sell our so-and-so.
Right.
They don't want to hear it anymore. So all you have is your attorney. Right. So make certain that your attorney does not have a problem doing what I call emotional hand-holding. Okay, because it will get lonely. The longer it goes, the more. In fact, people say, you're not divorced yet? What's taking so long? Your lawyer must be holding that up so that they can get money out of you.
Right.
But it's a matter of, we're trying to get, the situation with the kids. We got the guardian ad litem. An incident happened with the children, and now the guardian ad litem has to do a further investigation. Now the guardian ad litem has changed his or her initial recommendation because of something that happened. that causes it. I mean, that can really, the thing can go left because life happens. Your divorce is not just the only thing happening. Something can happen with your children at school, on your watch, you know, and now dad wants custody. I have some cases where, you know, mom's, everybody's fine with mom having custody. As the divorce goes on, something happens. Now dad says, you know what? I think I want custody. Now we're starting basically a new fight in the middle of a fight. We're starting a new battle in the middle of the war.
Yep.
So now we got to get a guardian ad litem, or something happens and oh my God, my spouse is crazy. We need a motion for a psychological evaluation. You know,
Right.
and now we're fighting over that. So there are a lot of things that can make a divorce go from a contested divorce is usually going to be somewhere around a year to 14 months.
Wow.
A regular contested divorce to making it like the one that I just had, which was 3 years and 3 months.
Wow.
Things happened in that case that made it go that long, that made it last an entire additional year.
Right. But, you know, I appreciate you sharing that because it allows us to manage our expectations. You know, you think it's going to be, oh, only 6 months, 8 months, and I'll be done. And then when it's not, you're all anxious versus saying, you know what, this thing could take me 18 months. Let me go ahead and settle on into that.
Settle on in, get you some counseling if you need to.
Certainly. Yeah.
Okay. Because, you know, like I said, it's lonely. And so I can do a lot of emotional hand holding, but sometimes people need the help of a professional, some counseling. And sometimes your children will need some counseling during a divorce. This is a traumatic experience for them, particularly if they are, you know, pre-adolescent, adolescent age, you know, 11 to 14 is like the worst time you could file for a divorce. That's exactly when I filed mine. And I knew that, you know, or even some younger kids, because just the whole dynamic of breaking up the household, you know, a therapist will talk about, hey, well, now you're going to have love from both of your parents just in 2 different households and manage, you know, the anxiety that the children have. You know, with that, because it's a hard thing. See, when you're getting a divorce and there are children involved, even with adult children, I have a case right now where the children are young adults, you know, in their 20s, and they're devastated that their parents are getting divorced. You know, so everybody might need some help in getting through this process.
Yeah, it's a difficult process for sure.
It's a very, very difficult process, and everybody's not able to handle, you know, the dissension and the struggle and the strategy that comes with divorce. You know, and it's okay to get help. It really is.
For sure. For sure. Anything that we did not cover, you think it's important to share with our Thank Me Later community?
I would just say that we've touched on a lot of things, and a lot of the topics that we discussed. We could take a subset of some of these topics and discuss those for an hour, like division of assets. You know, so it's just important that people understand that divorce is a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you were going to run a marathon before, you know, the start gun, you would prepare for that marathon. You would prepare your body, you would prepare your mind. I would say exercise and stay fit during a divorce as best you can, because it's stressful. And as we know, ladies, stress kills. And so it's important that we have balance. You know, and just try to, you know, just really kind of survive and thrive if you can in the process. And sometimes that you're going to need help. Might be family, might be friends. It might be, you might throw yourself into work, or you might decide to do something you've wanted to do your whole marriage you couldn't do. You might want to start taking Zumba class or a salsa lesson or whatever it is that helps you get through that process, because it's emotional litigation, but you have to make rational decisions. And so, you know, how do you manage that? Plan, and be strategic.
And be strategic. My final question for you, Tanya.
Yes.
What advice do you have for newly married couples?
Oh my goodness, put God first. You know, if there's no foundation, no structure, try to make certain that you all have the same goals in life, and have order in your household. There has to be some rules. Can't be just anything goes. Things can't be unspoken. Communicate with each other. If you're having trouble communicating, it's okay to go get some counseling, not just premarital counseling. You could get counseling during your divorce to help you, especially if it's your first divorce. Your marriage is not your parents' marriage.
Right.
Or for a lot of us, our parents weren't married.
Right.
And so you do not have a paradigm upon which to base what a successful marriage looks like.
Yeah.
You don't know what a successful marriage looks like.
Yeah.
And so it's okay I always say it's okay to go get some help.
Right.
And just work through it, and be committed and loyal. And like I said, I'm pro-family. I'm not pro-divorce, but if divorce is what it is, we're going to do what we got to do.
We're going to do what we have to do. Yeah, for sure. Well, Tanya, for anyone who is in Georgia and is able or interested in contacting you for your services under the scope of family law, that could be divorce, that could be child support, how do they get in touch?
Well, they can check me out first. They can go to my website, which is www.tmg, like my initials, Tanya Mitchell Graham, tmgesq.com. They can call the office and schedule a consultation. That number is 770-492-9013. They can send us an email either through the website, or they can send an email to info@tmgesq.com. They can check me out on social media. I am TMGESQ on all platforms, which would be Instagram, TikTok. I got 2 posts, nothing to do with law. Twitter.
You're a step ahead of me, girl. You're a step ahead.
Yeah, I only got, my daughters made me do the post too. So it's nothing. But Instagram and Twitter, I'm more political over there on Twitter.
Okay.
Law firm has a Facebook page, it's TMGPC. We have an Instagram page, TMGPC. We have Twitter, TMGPC. As you can see, I love consistency.
Sure.
So reach out, check us out. But again, there are just a ton of excellent lawyers, but there are also a bunch of lawyers who are just taking the case to make the buck.
Yeah.
But your family and your future, they're both just too important to settle for less than what you deserve. Okay, so it is an investment, but you're investing in your future the whole rest of your life, really. And what's more important than that? What's more important than your kids? What's more important than where you're going to live?
Yeah.
Or how you're going to live the rest of your life. So
yeah, build your team wisely.
Absolutely.
Certainly build your team wisely. Yes. The other bits of advice that I heard you say is, manage your expectations. This is going to take a while. You need to be prepared for that. You need to take care of yourself during this process. You need to take care of yourself and your family during this process. And this process requires a tremendous amount of preparation. All the data gathering, fact gathering, information, the more thorough you are, the more you know where everything is, income, assets, accounts,
liabilities too. And during the process too, preparation before the divorce is filed and throughout the case.
It is
because
critical.
It's not over. All of that information, that's the part that a lot of people don't understand, is during the case. You gather additional evidence as things happen. Absolutely. And I I can help with how to store that so that we have a proper presentation for the court should we need to go there. But again, 70% of my cases settled. That one case that I had from March of 18 until June of 2021, on the day before the trial, we had our second, really our third mediation, because we had already settled part of the case. We were working from 10 a.m. until 3:25 a.m. That's the longest mediation I've had in hours. I don't know how many hours that is. 15 or so.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It was a long time. And I've had one case where we've had 5 mediations.
Wow.
But we got it. We got it done.
Got it done. Yeah. Yeah. And again, please select an attorney that you have rapport and chemistry with. This is an important relationship because this is a major event in your life. And there's nothing more important to us than you are prepared. Again, we're not encouraging divorce. We are not proponents of divorce, but we know divorce happens and you have got to be equipped. We want to make sure that you're equipped. So thank you, Tanya, for being so generous with your time and your information and knowledge and experiences. I am forever grateful for you. Please make sure that you watch her interview about child support. Honey, let me tell you something. If you have kids and you got child support, I promise you, you want to watch that interview. But thank you again, Tanya, for being so generous. Oh, and before we go, let's show your book one more time. I want to make sure.
Okay. Well, before we do that, I just want to thank you for Thank Me Later, because this is a service that so many women have questions and they don't have a resource for an answer.
A way to go.
So I thank you for both inviting me and all of your other segments, which is so valuable and so important to our community. This is a labor of love for you, I know. And I just want to say thank you because you are, in fact, contributing to the overall well-being of our community and for us as women. So thank you, Janai Thornton.
Well, thank you for that. And it is like you, I am committed to making sure that Black women like you and I have exactly what we need. You know, that's what I'm talking about. I know we are educated. I know a lot of us make really good money. I know we have ascended to positions that we would have never dreamed, that our mothers and grandmothers would have never dreamed about. But Tanya, you know, most of us aren't equipped. We're in these new places and we're not equipped.
Right. We are first generation on a lot of this.
We're first. We're still the first. So Thank Me Later is designed to make sure that we all have exactly what we need to navigate it. So again, thank you for being so generous. Show your book again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's make sure, ladies.
All right. The book is called Save Yourself Before You Change Your Mind. And it's really just a daily motivation. It's kind of what I did to get through my divorce. It took me a long time, by Tanya Mitchell. And it took me a while to make my decision. And I toiled with it for a long time. I probably wasted some good years, but I have no regrets. I have 2 amazing daughters from that union. And I love my 2 stepsons that live with us like they are my own. Absolutely. And so I have no regrets in that regard. And I'm very happy and healthy right now, but it was a process.
Right.
And so thank you for letting me do that little plug right there.
Of course. You didn't tell people where they can get the book though. Where do they get it?
They Amazon. They can just Google it. You Google the name, it pops up. It's in a lot of different places. They can get the ebook. And one of my clients, because you know I have them in my office. I've been going back to the office, but some of my clients, they come in such a distressed state when they finally made the decision. They're very fragile, and so I'll tell them, and they'll get, it's just $10, and they'll get it. And one of my clients was like, "Oh my God, it's helped so many ways," and that was a blessing to me, for me, that it helped her kind of gain some strength and some self-love, because that's what it's all about. You lose yourself in bad situations, and how do you get back to yourself and realize that you can't truly love anyone else until you first have self-love. And so it's really about self-love, and how do I kind of coach and motivate myself back to that space.
Right, absolutely.
All right.
No, thank you for sharing that. Again, thank you, my friend, for being so generous with your time. Thank you all for watching. Thank me later, real life. And I'll talk to you again soon, Tanya. Thank you. Look, I'll have to let David know we're done with our conversation now.
Yeah, stop ear hustling.
Stop ear hustling. Stop it. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you. Take care. Bye-bye.